All right, welcome back to my session. Um, so today we're going to look at fair value gaps and why they keep failing. First of all, the most important thing is to understand what is a fair value gap, how it's formed, and how does it fail and why it keeps failing. So essentially, we'll say that when price is in a hurry to deliver liquidity in a certain region, it leaves behind inefficiencies. So the price usually will come back, fill the inefficiency, and then continue the trend. So just to make some few markings on the same on my chart right now, so I can have the price forming high highs and high lows like this. High high, price goes to a discounted new high high, another discounted key level like that. So the areas of liquidity are very simple right here, as you can see. So the first liquidity level is, you can see here, where we have the breakout structure. The price is simply hunting liquidity. So when price is in a hurry to deliver liquidity in a certain region, it will leave behind inefficiencies. So I'm gonna mark this one as my liquidity level, which is essentially breakout structure. When you see breakout structure, just know that price is is going to grab some liquidity over there. So the only thing that price does, it hunts liquidity and fills the imbalances. That is the only thing that price does. So essentially, if you do not understand where the liquidity is, here the liquidity. I'll be dropping another video on types of liquidities that we have, but for today we are dealing with internal range liquidity. So in this case, you can see price is in a hurry to deliver liquidity at zero, and then it leaves behind an inefficiency like this, you see. So this is an inefficiency. This is essentially a fair value gap. Fair value gap right there. So the price comes back, fills the inefficiency, and then continues with the trend. Basically, there's something you need to understand. The price has attacked this buy side liquidity. You see, so you will know that we are bullish because we've done the breakout structure and price has left an inefficiency. The price comes back at a discounted key level right here. This could be a 4 hours fair value gap, and then you can have a continuation to the buy side. The same thing happens. This is where the liquidity is. You can see the price comes and raids it and leaves behind this inefficiency over here. And the same thing happens. The price comes back, fills the inefficiency, and continues with the trend. So essentially what you are having here is just internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. So internal range liquidity is basically fair value gaps, and then external range liquidity is highs and the lows. So I think I'm going to be dropping another video on the liquidity. So if price is not filling a fair value gap, then it is hunting lows and the highs. You can see this is a high, this is a high. So once the price attacks the high, it comes back to fill this inefficiency and continues. Leaves liquidity around here, comes, attacks it, and then comes to rebalance. So that is essentially how a fair value gap is created. So how now can we? What is the anatomy of a fair value gap? So for a fair value gap to form, you need 3 candles of whichever momentum. So they could be 3 candles of red or whichever. If they could be down close candles or up close candles. So you look at the first candles week, and then assume there is no middle candle, and then that candle's week. So essentially, if the wick of the first candle and the last candle do not come into contact, that is basically a fair value gap. So the two types of fair value gap, we have a CB and a BC. So we have a BC, this one, and a CB. So a BC is the one that offers support. This is when you want to go bullish. This one offers support. Offers support. And the CB offers resistance. Offers resistance. So let's get now into the charts so that we can see this practically. This is just the introduction, and then I'm going to show you how now what makes it fail and what it makes it high probability. Let me take a picture of this, and then I'm going to share it on my social media So when you come on 4 hours time frame, you can see here we have an example of a fair value gap right here. So we have these first candles. This is the first candle, the second candle, and the third candles. So you see the low of the first candle, low of the first candle's wick, and then we also have the high. I mean the high. That's the high. This is the low of the third candles. So you can see this week and this week we assume we don't have a candle in the middle. This is what makes up a fair value gap. You see. So essentially, what we are doing here, the price was in a hurry to deliver liquidity to the buy side. So it leaves behind inefficiencies. This is a gap that needs to be filled. Once the price comes back and fills the fair value gap, then it continues with the trend. You see the same thing happened here. We are coming here. We have 1, 2, 3 candles. This is the first candle's low right here, and then we have another candles low high. I mean that's the high and the low. So we have now a fair value gap being created here. The price is in a hurry, so it comes back, fills the gap, and then continues with the trend. You can see for yourself. So let's get to into now. This one is what we call as award. This is a basic. This one offers support. Let's look for an example for one that offers resistance. So first of all, you can see we have this one. We have the first candle, the second candle, and the third candle right here. So what we have here right now is now a fair value gap right there. The first candles weak and the third candles weak. We assume we don't have a candle in the middle. This is what makes up a CB now. This one offers resistance to the sell side. And you can see, just like we said, the price was in a hurry to deliver liquidity to the sell side right here. And then it left behind inefficiency. An inefficiency was created, and you can see the price came back and filled the inefficiency and actually continued with the trend. So another example, just the last example, in this case, we have now this one right here. Right here, 1, 2, 3 candles. You can see the price came and actually the price was in a hurry to go to the sell side and deliver liquidity. The price comes back, fills the inefficiency, and then continues with the trend. You can see price actually came back to this fair value gap and went to the sell side. So on today's topic, we want to learn what makes up the fair value gap actually fail. So there's something I need you to understand. Fair value gaps don't just work, but there's something that makes them high probability. And how can you know that a fair value gap is actually high probability? The first thing I need you to understand that you have liquidity, liquidity uh, plus a key level. So when you talk about liquidity, we are talking about highs, and and lows. And then when you talk about a key level, we are now talking about a fair value gap. So what price will essentially do? The price will generate price will generate liquidity inside the fair value gap and then sweep it. This is essentially turtle soup. So the price will generate liquidity, a high or a low inside a fair value gap, and actually take it out. So let's dive into the charts and see some of the examples of liquidity. Right here, actually, you can see one example. This is on 4 hours time frame. So when you look here, there's something interesting. Look at this fair value gap right here. 1, 2, 3 candles. I showed you how to identify a fair value gap. So this, I marked the fair value gap. That's the first step. You can see. So this is the fair value gap right here. So what you can see here, the price generated this fair value gap when it was in a hurry to go to deliver to the buy side. And actually price came and rebalanced the fair value gap because this is the first person to, I hope you can see the shade of my wicks, because there is buy side liquidity, there is sell side liquidity around here. You see? So the price came and actually did an institutional entry. The price came and generated liquidity. So I mark the liquidity level inside the fair value gap right there. You see? So I'm going to mark this one as sell side liquidity and then put it at the center right there and then put it in bold. You can have at possibly at 18 right there. So when you see the price came and actually the first time before price actually delivered aggressively to the buy side, what happened is price after it filled the fair value gap, there was no much the momentum was not very strong. So I'm going to mark this one, write it as a fair value gap. So once the price came and actually raided the fair value gap with liquidity, you can see how the price actually expanded. This is close to, I think this is close to 1,000 pips or something, because at the 50%, you can see price delivered 1,103 pips from that key level. That is very interesting. And then let me show you, so even short-term trades, there's one that I marked here previously. I can show you. We have this fair value gap right here. 1, 2, 3. I marked it when I was marking an example. If you just check back. So what actually happened here is it's very interesting. The same thing that happened, price reacted from the lower quadrant of the fair value gap. If I can use my gun box, I can show you the price actually got to 0.25 level and actually generated liquidity. This is what we call an institutional re-entry. This is a fake trade. The first time the price came and generated liquidity and actually sold, but now the next time the 4 hour candle came and it actually did a strong manipulation to the buy side and took out the liquidity. You can see this is the liquidity that was generated. So I like referring to this as a very high probability fair value gap because it has got buy side liquidity inside it. There are so many examples, even for inversion fair value gaps. So the price came and actually took out that liquidity, and and you can see the price went aggressively to the sell side, delivered close to 500 pips. The same thing you can see here, even a volume imbalance. Look at, see, I think this is when Powell was giving a speech in maybe August or something. Yes. So you can see we had an imbalance here. The body to body, this was a volume imbalance. You see for yourself. So I call this a volume imbalance. So what actually happened here? The price came and generated liquidity around this volume imbalance. You see, very interesting scenario. But now you see the price attempted to go higher. The algorithm knows that the people are buying from here. What does price do? Price comes, generates liquidity inside the volume imbalance of or an area of an inefficiency, and actually comes and takes out comes and sweeps the liquidity. So this is sell side liquidity. So these are very good examples that are just random. You can see once price attacked the sell side liquidity inside the key level, the price delivered aggressively to the buy side. You can see it happened and it actually took out the external highs. So that is close to, I don't know how many pips you can count for yourself. Let's look at another example right here. We have the price generating a fair value gap around here. You see it? This is a fair value gap. The first step is to identify a fair value gap. Number two, look for liquidity or wait for liquidity to be generated. And you know very well price, the best reaction comes from the 0.5. So when you check here, we have something. The price comes, generates liquidity around the 50% level and actually comes and takes out the liquidity. This is not rocket science. This is why your fair value gaps keep failing, because you don't wait for liquidity to be generated. You can see the price comes, takes out the liquidity and goes aggressively to the buy side. You can see price delivered aggressively to the buy side, close to 500 pips. The same thing happens even here. The liquidity that was taken out, the price also came and generated more liquidity. The low that was left, the price came, left the liquidity down here. The price actually came and took out the liquidity, and you can see it delivered to the buy side, interestingly. So those are some of the examples that I can see on 4 hours time frame. Let me see if I can get some more. So there are types of fair value gaps. I'll be dropping content of the same. I think you know about maybe the what do you call them? What do you call them? What do you call them? The fair value gaps that are hidden. I don't know how you call them. Even here we have liquidity around here. The price came and took out the liquidity, and price has been going aggressively to the buy side. Let me see if I can get some few more examples here. Even here you can see price actually did generated liquidity. If you check clearly, we have a fair value gap around here. This is a fair value gap. 1, 2, 3 candles. I mark the fair value gap. That is the first step. And what price does is it comes, generates liquid. You can see price came and actually the first time generated liquidity to took out the liquidity and sold close to 200 pips. And then it came another time, did a lot more damage, and then it went to the sell side aggressively. So just a few more examples before probably we can exit. So I have another fair value gap right here. This is how the body tells the story, the wicks do the damage. A fair value gap right here. This one, I think this one doesn't have liquidity. And I'm going also to be dropping more content on even order blocks and what makes the order blocks high probability. So if you work this concept with actually with what do you call it, with with if you work this on high time frame, you're going to get a lot of pips. Even here we have an NWOG. This is another NWOG, right? Actually, it's an area of an inefficiency as well. What price actually did, it came and generated liquidity, and at the right time it engineered liquidity the whole week. This is a new week opening up. The price came, generated this liquidity around here, and the price, this is the liquidity, see for yourself. This is the liquidity level right here. And then once the price came and took out the liquidity, this is an enough trade to make you a lot of money, because price took out the sell side liquidity around there and actually went to the buy side aggressively. This is close to 400 pips or 300 pips. You can see price actually went 383 pips from that key level. Also here, when you check, we also have another fair value gap right here. We have a balanced price range, fair value gap, and an inversion as well. The price came, generated liquidity, and actually took out the liquidity. And you can see the price actually went aggressively to the sell side. Those are some of the examples on the fair value gaps, and that was makes the fair value gaps high probability. Even here, actually, you can see we have another fair value gap. This is not random. This is not random. We have a fair value gap right here. Price actually did an institutional entry, price generated liquidity and actually took out the liquidity. It is very important for you to note that price, the best reaction comes from the zero point 0.5 or the consequent encroachment. The price attacks the lows inside the fair value gaps and explodes. This is a nuclear attack. You see that? This is what you need to stand to look at all the time. This is what you need to look at all the time. Even here, you see, there's something interesting as well. On 4 hours time frame, this liquidity void that was being filled, the first thing, identify a fair value gap right here. This is a fair value gap. And then, does it have liquidity? Yes, we have liquidity that was actually generated, and price actually took out the liquidity. These are gems that you need to be using in your trading. The fair value gap, the price went down aggressively. I think this was on which day was it? I think the price, you can see the strong bearish candle on 4 hours time frame, close to 500 pips. Actually, it's 1,000 pips, just one 4 hour candle, just using that concept. So it's an easy thing. Just keep checking the channel. I'll always drop these gems for you, just for educational purposes only. You can also watch my live streams every day on YouTube, and you can follow me on X at Lord of Merchants. And thank you so much. Have a good day.